Triple Play, everybody. The Pirates are red hot right now, playing very good baseball. We're going to talk about all of that. We want you to scan the QR code. We want you to watch it on YouTube. We want you to find all of your podcast platforms, because that's where all the information you need coming from Bucco Triple Play is going to be. And we've got some great guests coming up on today's show. Not only those two, Rich Donnelly and Don Sloan, the Nacho Man, and myself, Bill Phillips. We have Mike Hargrove. Well, he's a human rain delay. We'll talk about that and much more with Mike Hargrove, former manager of the Cleveland Indians, and Bob Walk, the sensational pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he's also the color analyst on Game. So we'll talk about all of that as we bring you through this week's Bucco Triple Play. And gentlemen, the Pirates off to a good start. So let's take a look at the standings right now in the National League Central Division. And here we go. The Pirates, the first place Pirates, 9-6. Then it's the Reds, Cardinals, Brewers, and Cubs. Gentlemen, thoughts on where the Pirates sit after, a couple weeks of the season? What do you think?
Well, everybody always says, you don't worry about anything until Memorial Day, then the 4th of July. Yeah, I understand it. But after what we've suffered through, I'll take the Pirates first place any day of the year. This Monday in early April, I love it. I'm excited to see the Pirates play good baseball and be in first place in the division. And Rich, what's funny, what people are probably a little upset about, well, they took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs, but they easily could have taken all 3.
Yeah, in baseball, you have some games that maybe you shouldn't win, like maybe Saturday, we shouldn't have won it. The game was given to us. Games like yesterday, we should have won. What happens in baseball, whatever you are, whatever record you have, that's your record. And at the end of the year, I don't say it all evens out, but you get how you played. And right now, the most important thing I think for the Pirates, it's like a horse race. You don't want to get left at the gate. You don't have to necessarily be out front by 20 lengths. But you have to get in position later. And the Pirates right now, they're in position to get in position down the road.
And they were left at the gate last year, so I think that's another big reason why this is exciting. And 2, you look at those, Billy, the shoulda, coulda, woulda games. I think the Pirates have had 4 of those. Yeah. Game 2 against the Mets, they lost in the extra innings. They won one with the Orioles they shouldn't have. They won one Saturday they shouldn't have. Lost one yesterday they shouldn't. So woulda, coulda, shouldas. Right now, they're 2-2 in those, and you just want to win more of those than you lose.
Well, and we also want to talk about why they had a successful series in Chicago. So let's talk about the hitting and the pitching from the Chicago series, where the Pirates took 2 of 3. And there's a look at the baseballs. Who hit them? Who threw them? Let's talk about that. Game 1, Brian Reynolds. He had 1 home run in the game, 2 RBIs. It was a 2-0 game. It was absolutely fantastic. Game 2, O'Neill Cruz, 4 for 5. Brian Reynolds, 2 for 5 and a run driven in. Cruz with a run scored. Game number 3, how about O'Neill Cruz again with a home run? Brandon Lau with a home run, 2 home runs with a grand slam mixed in. So gentlemen, the Pirates are getting the power, the hitting, and the pitching for the most part.
Yeah, and Cruz, boy, was he a spark plug Saturday with those 4 hits. Also, the 3 stolen bases, so we're seeing the whole part of his game. He's got the longest hitting streak right now in the major leagues as well. And then Brandon Lau, when Brandon Lau hits home runs, he doesn't stop at 1. He hits 2. He had a pair in the game Sunday, a grand slam and a solo shot.
Last year, you never used the word dangerous when you were talking about the Pirates lineup. Never, all year, never. We were hoping to get a single. We were hoping to get a walk, just get a guy on base. Now, we're dangerous. We got guys that can hit home runs. Cruz, he have 6 already? Lau had 2 yesterday. Reynolds. They have a lineup where anybody in that lineup could hit a home run. And in today's baseball, I think Gary Varsho said it once, it's different. It's not like you get 3 hits anymore, have a hit and run, a bunt. No. You score runs with bombs. And that's what the Pirates are doing now. 2-run homers, 3-run homers, grand slam homers. Those turn into runs. That's why the Pirates lineup is dangerous. That's why they're scoring runs. Tack on our great starting pitching. Good formula for what their record is now.
And they did it against some red-hot pitchers from the Cubs that the Buccos made those guys. Well, Shote on Friday. No, hit them through 6 innings, and they got to the bullpen. But Cabrera was lights out going into the game Saturday. They lit him up as well. But the reason is, Bill, the Pirates pitching. You look, Majinski, Ashcraft, Chandler all had great games over the weekend.
Well, let's take a look at their numbers from this weekend. They had some good numbers and wiggled out of a jam in Game 2. Yohan Ramirez, 2 innings. Had to get out a couple of bases loaded. James had a couple of strikeouts, so that's a good spot for the relievers to get that done, find out if you can have that trust in the guy. And then you look at the starters, and they have gotten the job done. And an expert to talk about the Pirates pitching, Bob Walk.
And we're joined now by former Pirate pitching great and current member of the broadcast team, Bob Walk. And Rich, I don't know if the three of us thought we'd wake up on a Monday morning today to the Buccos being in first place.
Well, Walkie and I, with the Bucks, we're used to being in first place. So this looks normal to us.
Well, it is kind of an unusual thing nowadays, but I just want to say, and I don't want to be like a blanket of cold water or wet blanket. It is very early in the season. We still got a lot of work to do, and if we're in first place in the first week of June, then I think that really shows that maybe we have a little staying power. But for right now, very early. We've only really had one homestand, getting ready to start our second homestand. So we'll see how it goes in another month, and we got to stay really healthy. I think that's going to be a very important thing for us this year.
Looking back at the Cubs series over the weekend, sitting there Thursday going into it for the first game on Friday, well, if we could take 2 out of 3, man, that'll be great. Now people are a little irritated this morning that we didn't sweep them. What are your thoughts on going to Chicago and taking 2 out of 3 like we did?
I'm the same way. I'm like, oh, man, I hope we can get 2 out of 3 here. And then, when we end up not being able to close the door on that final victory, you're a little bit, disappointed because it was there for the taking. I felt the same way about a couple of games during the last homestand too, that we could have won a couple there that we didn't and maybe should have. But I guess maybe that's a good sign, a sign of that we are in first place and we got a good team, because your expectations and you're not just like driving home after the game and like, oh, well, we lost it. And now it's just a big deal. It's like, hey, we got a shot at maybe playing for the division for the first time in a long time. Coming in first place is not going to be easy, but you can't kick away very many wins and still accomplish that. So
Walkie, I think
we have to be very careful.
Yeah, I think the starting pitching so far has been excellent. I know back in the day, Jim used to say, you have a good starting pitching when you're the manager and you get in your car to drive to the ballpark and you got a really good feeling. And I think with our starters, most of the time DK drives to the park, he feels really good, especially on a day like today when Skeens will be going.
I remember he used to say that, and one of the things when he told me that, he said, I used to drive to the ballpark and do I want our guy or do I want their guy?
That's right.
How he used to put that. And you're right. On most days now, you want our guy.
Right.
And now I think it's going to be important to us that we start getting a little deeper into the games with our guys, as that's one of the reasons we lost that game yesterday in Chicago, is we ran out of bullpen because we're using so much of the bullpen every day. We need to get some of these good pitchers to give our bullpen some days off. Now that's not going to happen all the time, but you got to start getting them deeper.
All right, on the Bucco Triple play, there's 3 up and there's 3 down. Well, right now it's time for 3 up. Let's take a look at our 3 up, and I'm going to start with the power, home runs. That's something that has been lacking over the past few years, and all of a sudden the Pirates are getting the job done. Don, what's your 3 up?
Well, the Oakland A's, they took a bite out of the Big Apple, if you will. First, they take 2 out of 3 for the Yankees, then they sweep the Mets. So the A's, I don't know if you call them Oakland, Sacramento, Las Vegas anymore. They're the A's, but the A's took a bite out of the Big Apple.
Yeah, and mine is Matt Olson. Matt Matt Olson has played in 798 complete games, which is a record now. For right now. He's a lunch bucket guy. I admire guys that play every day. They don't duck pitchers. They play against righties, lefties. They play when they have a headache. They play when it's too hot. They play when it's too cold. Matt Olson, my three up.
The new Iron Horse. So you have those. Those are your three ups. We'll get to the three downs a little bit later. Right now, we are getting you prepared for Mike Hargrove, the former Cleveland Indians manager at the time, the Indians, and of course, Rookie of the Year. And we will talk to him about a number of things. But right now, let's take a look at what you can find from Laudamus Communication. Pirates fans, protect what matters most with Laudamus Communications and Security. From homes to businesses, their managed security systems are monitored 24/7 and built with cutting-edge technology, giving you control, confidence, and even instant lockdown when it matters most. Laudamus Communications and Security, always connected, always protected. Just Right Home Care. Just Right Home Care, we are hiring. Competitive wages, flexible hours, and paid travel expenses. Join our team of reliable and friendly caregivers by applying in person at 2197 National Road, Wheeling, or calling 304-233-1414 to set up an interview. National Gold and Silver Refinery, Rich's treasure chest, I should say. The gold is trading around $5,000 an ounce. Now is the time to sell your gold due to popular demand. The National Gold and Silver Refinery at the Holiday Inn in Weirton, West Virginia, has expanded hours, open Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., and Fridays until 4. Get top dollar in cash from the team you can trust. And you know who trusted Mike Hargrove as a manager? The Cleveland Indians. He was sensational as a manager, and we caught up with him on the Bucco Triple Play.
Mike Grover's story. Mike, the first baseball card I bought as a kid, I opened up, the very first card was you, 1975 with the Texas Rangers. Awesome card because the bat's coming right at you. You got the left-handed swing and there's the bat. Best baseball card I've ever had.
Yeah, he took it to a card show. He got 17 cents.
Oh, that's 2 cents more than I figured he would have gotten.
Go ahead, Don.
No, I'll never give that card up. So tell me about the Class A and you guys starting out together.
Okay, Mike was drafted by the Rangers, and I was managing in Gastonia, North Carolina. And they said, you're getting this college kid from Texas. And he comes in, I look at him, and I said, okay, really, this is going to be real good. Can't run, can't throw. I guess he plays first base. I hope he could get a couple hits. Well, lo and behold, in spite of me, he won the batting title. and still, I think, until someone proves me wrong, he's the only guy called up from low A to the big leagues. He missed high A, he missed double A, he missed triple A, went to the Texas Rangers with the manager, Billy Martin, and was Rookie of the Year. It's never been done before. It's unbelievable. But a lot of people around here, and I didn't even know this. That's how dumb I am. I had him for a whole year, and the human rain delay thing, I never even heard of that. So I want you, Don, to ask him where that all started.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're known as the human rain delay. Where did the human rain delay, where'd that story come from? That nickname?
Gastonia.
Tell him why you took so much time getting in the box.
Well, it's because I made a pad. I got jammed when I went like 5 for 6 one night and didn't hit a ball hard enough to get out of the infield. It just happened to be at the right spots. Every one of them were jam shots, and my thumb felt like it was falling off my hand, and didn't get better. It got to the point to where I can't even play pepper without, my thumb going numb. So I made a pad out of Telfa pads and athletic tape, and this is before now they have the rubber ring and all that kind of stuff, and made it. And by breaking it in, I probably lost a quart of blood. Screwing that thing on my thumb and trying to keep it on there. The first time I finally got it broken in, and the first time I used it in a game, I went up, hit the ball, got a base hit, ran to the first base, and looked down to take the thing off my thumb, and it had fallen off, and so I had to make another one, and so I decided right then and there that I would screw that down really, really tight because it was really not fun making those things and breaking them in. So that's where it came from. Came from Rich telling me BP. That's what happened.
And then you used that your whole career, right?
Whole career, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
I want to tell a
Okay.
story about Mike that he may not know, or he when he came up having a great year, and the Rangers were contending. They're playing the Oakland A's, and it was September, and I was a rookie, or I was an A-ball manager, but I sat in the press box, and Billy Martin was a manager.
Oh, wait a minute. Bill, what was it like playing for Billy Martin?
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Well, here's what happened.
ahead.
So I get a phone call up in the press box, and I thought it was my wife called. I said, who the hell knows I'm in the press box? Well, it was Billy on the phone. And he said, hey, can Grover bunt? And I go, oh, yeah, he's a hell of a bunter. He ain't bunted since he's been 12 years old. So he gets up there, and I think I got this right. You might have to help me. It was either Lindblad or Daryl Knowles, and they put the squeeze on. Probably the first time you've ever got to squeeze in your life.
Yeah.
And he got the bunt down, and I went, thank God. And Billy looks up at me and gives me the thumbs up like I knew what I was talking about. And I told the GM, he goes, what's the matter? He goes, you're sweating. I goes, Grover's never bunted in his life. I just made it up, and it worked out good. So that was, that was
Daryl Knowles. Yeah. I hit 450 that year in spring training. And so at the end of spring training, the teams, we went on a barnstorming tour back to Arlington, and we played the Astros in Tulsa and Oklahoma City and places like that, and stopped in Houston to play like a 3-4 game series against them during the Astrodome. And there was 4 or 5 of us that we knew we were going down because a ball club does that, and they end up taking extra guys to fill in, and they send them down, fairly soon after that. But they take them to just in case guys. And so we got together one night. It was next to the last night we were there, and we decided among us that we were going to go to Billy in the morning and ask him, where we were going and when we were going, and so I waited on them, and they went without me, and Billy told them, and they didn't, So the next day we were playing a game. I'm walking down the left field line with Billy to start the game, and I asked him. I said, Billy, where am I going and when? And he said, well, Mike, he said, I thought I'd take you with me to Arlington. He said, but of course, if you don't want to, I can change my mind. And I said, no, that'll be okay. Call Sharon. Sharon was substitute teaching back in Perryton, and so I called her on the phone, and it was April 1st, April Fool's Day, and I said, Sharon, we made the big leagues, and she went off on me. Mike, you's no good. I've had my fill of April Fool's jokes all day long with these 6th graders. So finally it worked out. She finally believed me, and then she called everybody, and I didn't tell anybody.
I'm told that your introduction to Steubenville, you went to a Italian restaurant in Steubenville, and as a Texan, you dared to cut the spaghetti. Don't you know that you twirl the spaghetti?
Yeah. We went to this. We'd been to the PA's, the Polish Athletic Club before that. We'd gone to the banquet and done the banquet, and then we went to the PAC afterwards, and we were feeling no pain. When we went to this Italian, I couldn't believe the thing was still open. It was like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, right.
And we go in there and we sit down, and these they look like mob guys. I mean, they
No,
just
not
see 'em.
here.
No. And they're sitting next to us, and I'm meeting them, and Rich is introduced. And Rich was real good. He was good buddies with them, and I ordered spaghetti, and I'm starting to eat the spaghetti, and I start cutting it up, and I didn't know how to twirl my spaghetti. And this one guy, hey Maria, bring this jabrona another place cutting up the spaghetti. Look like a dummy. I looked at him. I said, hey pal, you eat your spaghetti how you want to. I'll eat it how I want to. I thought Rich was going to have a heart attack. I had no clue, um, so he brought me another deal of spaghetti, and Rich taught me how to twirl it. Yeah, we almost got killed. We wouldn't have felt it though.
What was he like as a manager? I mean, I'm around him all the time, and he's a jokester and he's a comedian, and we always hear these great stories when he coached with the Pirates. But as the boss, as the big boss, what was it like playing for Rich?
That was, Rich let you play. I mean, he probably the hardest working guy I've ever been around, as far as taking his job seriously. There's a lot of us coaches, played the game like Rich did, and get into coaching afterwards, and they kind of throw batting practice and go sit down. Rich didn't do that. Rich paid attention to detail. He was fun to be around. Rich knew. Rich and I became dear friends. I mean, Rich is like a brother to me, and always has been. But Rich knew there's a line you can't cross as a manager. And Rich knew that line, and he walked that line as perfectly as I've ever seen anybody. He let you know he liked you, and he let you know that things were good, and he joked around with you. But when it was time to work, it was time to work. And Rich never really ever crossed that line during the season as far as being your manager or being your friend. So it was. I never forget. We had one bus trip. We had a kid, me and the guy by the name of Doug Alt and Ted Savia.
Oh.
And we always sat at the back of the bus, and we raised holy hell. We did. We were loud and laughing and joking, and so we had a player on the team by the name of Larry Momey, a big right-handed pitcher, good guy, but he was really a big guy. And so Momey never sat by us. All of a sudden, Momey ends up in the back of the bus and with us, and we said, "What are you doing back here?" And he said. Rich sent me back here to keep you guys quiet. I'm the policeman on this bus trip. I said, okay. So yeah, we between Rich and Ed Noddle, who coached for Rich, it was a fun year.
I've been on both sides of it. Sometimes it's this way it is in baseball. Sometimes the team that wins the pennant over a long period of time, in 1 week, they're not the best team. It's who gets hot. When I was with the Pirates, we were the best team in baseball, hands down. Bonds, Bonilla, Van Slyke, and that bunch. We got beat 3 years in a row by Atlanta. We were the best team. Then we go to the Marlins. We were the wild card team, and we had no business really playing with those other guys. It just happened. That's the way baseball is.
Let's talk about some team other than the Marlins.
Oh man,
that had to be tough for you guys as great friends.
It was tough on both sides.
Yeah.
I think the worst thing is being on a team where you're your best friend. I mean, I can say Mike is my best friend in baseball. To show you how much I think of him, I named my son Michael after him. Him and Sharon are our best friends from way back, and they'll always be our best friends. And to be in that World Series, I said, somebody's going to feel awful good and somebody's going to feel awful bad. And I remember going out there, Mike, that ninth inning, it was 2-1. And I had to talk to myself. I said, don't be a jerk. You're going to congratulate him. You're happy for him. And then you know what happened next, and we'll just leave it there.
Yeah, it was that. People ask me how long did it take me to get over losing that game. It was seventh game of the World Series, and on my birthday, it's my birthday. And I said, well, just as soon as it happens, I'll let you know. And that's kind of where I'm at now.
You never get. I know we had the Sid Bream game with Atlanta.
Yeah.
And they say, well, even though you won a World Series, I said, no, you don't understand. That game never leaves you. That tough one that breaks your heart, it never leaves you. It just doesn't.
The only saving grace in that, the honest, and I'm really telling the truth now, is that you were on the winning team. Yeah, it was. I remember looking out there and seeing you, and I got a warm feeling in my heart that had happened, and I was. It helped. It helped.
Well, I saw the interview you did after the game, and I was speechless.
It's different.
Oh, your eyes are welling up now talking about it.
Yeah, Rich is a good man.
Would like to thank Mike Hargrove for joining us. And of course, it is brought to you by National Gold and Silver Refinery, Holiday Inn in Weirton, West Virginia. Do you have gold or unwanted jewelry? Now is the time to sell due to popular demand. The National Gold and Silver Refinery at Holiday Inn Weirton is open Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., and Fridays until 4 in the evening. With gold trading around $5,000 an ounce, now is the time to sell. Looking for compassionate, reliable care for a loved one in the Wheeling area? Just Right Home Care is here to help. Their dedicated team provides personalized in-home support, from daily assistance and companionship to specialized care, so your family member can stay safe and comfortable at home, with a focus on dignity, respect, and peace of mind. Just Right Home Care treats every client like family. Learn more today, because the right care makes all the difference. Just Right Home Care at 304-233-1414. In life-changing moments, you need a lawyer who's ready to stand firm. Mike Nogay has over 40 years of courtroom experience securing results in personal injury, medical malpractice, and serious criminal defense cases across West Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. That's Weirton attorney Mike Nogay, where your fight is his fight. Speaking of the fight is on at the beginning of the week for the Pirates and the Washington Nationals. Let's take a look at some of the pitching matchups, and let's take a look at Mr. Skeens, because that's the only thing anyone wants to talk about is Paul Skeens, and why not? 2-1, 5.25 earned run average. You know that's going to drop in the bucket. 12 strikeouts coming into tonight's game. A battle of two teams that are, the Pirates first place in the National League Central. Washington, a game under 500, fourth place in the National League East. Let's continue on with Tuesday's matchup. This is a 6:40 start. Mitch Keller, 3 starts, 1-0, and the earned run average of 1.00 with 11 strikeouts. Wednesday, Machinsky back on the mound. Pitched well this weekend in Chicago. He is no record right now in terms of wins and losses. Earned run average is 2.15. With 15 strikeouts. He's been pitching very, very well. How about Braxton Ashcraft? 2.25 earned run average. He'll be your starter in the fourth and final game. That is a getaway day game. That's set for 12:35. The Pirates and the Washington Nationals getting the week started. Now, the Pirates pitchers, gentlemen, who will they deal with? They've got some good hitters down there in Washington.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the guy that, and you look at the Nats, they're just coming off a sweep of the Milwaukee Brewers. Who saw that coming? And Foster Griffin was lights out against Milwaukee. But C.J. Abrams, the shortstop for the Nats, he makes things happen, hitting .321. He's got 4 homers and 16 RBIs. James Wood also having a good year with 5 homers. So that's a look at the main hitters: Abrams, Wood, House, Weimer, and Garcia.
Yeah, the Nationals got some great hitters. But as a lawyer and my cousin Vinny said, but they have not faced the best pitching in baseball, which they're going to face starting tonight.
Most series, you have a rare 2-gamer. Most are 3. Anything different when you look at this as a 4-game series? I think the Pirates better be getting more than 5 or 6 innings out of their pitching, or you're going to have more bullpen issues.
Yeah, this is an important week because of we don't have any off days this week. We're going to play 6 in a row, I believe. It'll be 10 in a row. And it's about time. It's about time to stretch these starters out to 90, 100. Try to get in that 7th inning where you don't have to overuse your bullpen. Very important. No off days coming up. Let's see if the Pirate starters, which they're very capable of, can get into that 7th inning maybe 2 or 3 times. Be used properly.
Well, Bob Walk was a big-time starter back in the day, and now a broadcaster for the Pirates. And we asked him about his thoughts on the Bucks and the Nats this week. Let's look ahead to the National Series. They're on a roll. They're hitting the cover off the baseball. They just swept the Brewers. How do you look at this 4-game home set with Washington?
Well, before they swept the Brewers, I kind of liked it. The Nationals, they're not really a great club that's expected to do anything. But as you just pointed out, they're good enough to where they can put a whooping on you if you don't do really well. Now, they are hitting the ball very well. What's our strength? Preventing the ball from being hit really well. So I like our chances. Again, it goes back to what, Rich, you were saying earlier about manager drives to the ballpark. Do I want their pitcher or do I want our pitcher? Well, I'm going to want ours every time this year, unless it's a weird situation. So with our starting pitcher, whatever, I don't really care how they're hitting the ball, because I think we're going to be able to control that.
Yeah.
We have to play good defense. That's right. I think one of the bigger questions that we have right now, can we play consistent enough defense to support the pitching? Everybody thought about that. That was a big talk down in spring training about our defense. So far it's been kind of middle of the road, and hopefully it'll get a little bit better and not go the other way.
All right, a little bit earlier on this edition of Bucco Triple Play, we talked about the ups in Major League Baseball. What about some of the downs right now? And we begin with Don. Don, what do you have for us?
Well, I think the Houston Astros, a team that a lot of people expected a lot of, they lost 7 in a row in 8 of their last 10. So the Astros, they're down.
Yeah, my down is Jazz Chisholm from the Yankees, and he was a unanimous vote for me because in a game the other day with bases loaded, he was playing second, a ground ball to him. He tried to tag the runner coming from first. He missed. He threw it to first and was hoping that they could throw to second and get the guy out. He didn't realize that when you throw to first with the bases loaded, there's no force on the runner that was on first. And he got called out by a media guy in the post-game conference that said, "Don't you know the rule?" And he said, "What rule?" He didn't even know it. So hands down, he gets my 3 down.
And I'm going to go with the shaky bullpen performance by the Pirates on Sunday. You don't want that to creep in. You don't want the doubt to creep in. Big week with 4 games against Washington. You're probably going to see some hitters a number of times. And as Rich and Don mentioned, the starters need to stretch it out and then get to that bullpen. They have to be rock solid. How about a look at the Central of the National League? And here we go with the standings. Pirates number 1. Just sit back and enjoy that, everybody. Just let that sink in. First place, Pirates. As Don said before, doesn't matter what day of the year it is. If they're in first place, it feels good. Let's take a look at some of the other things going on around the Central Division. We have the Brewers. They've lost 5 in a row, and a big injury here. Yelich, how long will he be out? We don't know, but a hamstring injury, so that's really going to hurt the Brewers' offense. Reds have lost 4 of 5. Andrew Abbott, 3 innings, 7 runs, 8 hits given up. And then Cardinals, Jordan Walker, if you need a fantasy player, Adam, 6 home run in 8 games. It's pretty good, pretty good. So that is a look at some of the things going on around the Central Division in the National League. And sad news to share on this Bucco Triple Play podcast. Phil Garner, of course, the world champion with the Pirates from the '79 World Series, passed away from pancreatic cancer over the weekend. 76 years old. And Rich and Don, just some thoughts on scrap iron.
Well, Phil Garner, when I played youth baseball, Phil Garner was my guy. I played second base. He was the second baseman. He wore number 3, so that's why I wore number 3 when I played baseball, played second base with Phil Garner. Really, he was my guy, scrap iron. And when I got into this profession, I had a chance to interview him as manager of the Tigers. And they say sometimes you don't want to meet your heroes because they're not what you expect. He was exactly what I expected.
Yeah, he was a perfect guy for the Pirates when they won the World Series. He was like the captain and became a yinzer. He was a tough guy. He could have worked at a mill. He was a tough blue-collar guy. And every time I hear his name, I just think of toughness.
Good way to describe scrap iron. Phil Gardner, rest in peace. And we have some baseball to talk about in terms of where you can catch baseball on Fox 9. Major League Baseball on Fox. Here we go. Let's take a look at that schedule. Atlanta Braves, Philadelphia Phillies. That game is Saturday, the 18th at 7 in the evening. Tigers and Reds, Saturday, April 25th at 7 in the evening. Dodgers and Cardinals, May 2nd, 7 o'clock in the evening as well. Sunday, April 19th, the 7 o'clock start on Peacock. And that is the Braves and Phillies. And these are games on NBC and Peacock. And then the Angels and Royals at 7 o'clock on NBC and Peacock. And then the Rangers and Tigers. They will play as well on May 3rd. And believe it or not, we are in the month of May. Where did April go? We're already looking ahead to the month of May, but the great thing is it's been a great start for the Pirates so far. Gentlemen, quick final thoughts from the two of you.
Well, you heard a little bit from Bob Walk. Next show, you're going to hear from Bob Walk and Rich's Treasure Chest, and we've got some stories. We might not play them all, but we've got a couple, and Walkie is outstanding.
Yeah, Bob says that the stories I tell are 99% true, so I'll take that anytime.
All right. Rich, Don, thank you very much. It is the Bucco Triple Play, everybody. Thank you for joining us.